does a property manager come up with fair market rent? I'm going to go and explain 4 things that we look at before we determine fair market rent. The first is comparables. So you want to be able to take your subject property and find the same floor plan, the same number of bedrooms and baths, number of garages in the same neighborhood, and find out how long another property like that has taken to rent in the neighborhood. That would be your golden standard. Now, of course, we're not always able to find like-for-like floor plans, same neighborhood, same year built, on and on and on. So you do need to get as close as possible to your subject property. What I have found is a lot of my owners have what I call owner glasses on. So they might be, let's say, 2,000 square feet, 2-car garage, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. But the comparables that they're grabbing are comparables that are like a 3-car garage on a double the size of the lot. Located in maybe a gated community when their property is not. So they have the owner client glasses on, which sometimes you have to just say, nah, we gotta compare like for like. Apples for apples, oranges for oranges. And if it's not exactly an apple, then let's dice it up and figure out how close we can get to it. And there is value to everything. It's like an appraisal. If I am comparing a property that does not have a pool with a property that does have a pool, but everything else about the properties are very similar. Same neighborhood, floor plan, square footage, number of bedrooms, yada yada. But one has a pool, one does not. I am going to add about $100 to $120 per month in rent for the property that has a pool. And so you just kind of learn a couple things, like a bedroom. A bedroom is going to be about $75 more in rent. Now, if it's a bedroom with an ensuite, then you're going to get closer to $100 in value. A garage is definitely about $75 to $100. So if you're a 2-car garage to a 3-car garage, that extra garage is going to demand more in rent. But you also have to take in consideration that you want to be in the same neighborhood with the same amenities, the same retail that is around that neighborhood. So I'm sitting here looking at a property that has a 3-car garage and a 2-car garage, but this 2-car garage is in a gated community with all kinds of retail around it, making it so convenient for a tenant. Well, this one over here that's got the 3-car garage may be equal in rent to the 2-car garage because of the amenities the neighborhood offers compared to the 3rd-car garage. So you really need to know the subject property. And it does help to understand the city in which you're in. I happen to be blessed with the fact that I was born and raised in Las Vegas. So I have seen neighborhoods basically from conception when they were just desert. And now, obviously, they're these beautiful neighborhoods. So it gives me a little insight to where the builder, how popular those floor plans were when they were being built, when they were being sold. So a lot of that makes a difference, because if you've got a popular floor plan, obviously that's probably going to be a popular rental. But basic to basic, comparables is what you want, as close as you can get. That is your golden standard. Now we'll move on to rents that make sense. Another thing that my owner clients do sometimes is they will email me and they'll say, hey Jenny, you thought that rent was this amount, and I'm seeing on Zillow that I can get a couple $100 more. Well, first of all, Zillow is only about 20% accurate. So let's put the truth out there. You are using a very bad source of income when they're only 20% accurate. But even let's say they are, at that time, somewhat accurate. What the problem is my client was using Zillow on the available properties. So they were seeing the wishes and the prayers. So somebody was sitting there and they said, I have this property, I want to put it on the market for this amount. And then my client goes, oh, since that property is on the market for that amount, then my property should be on the market for that amount. No, don't fall into that trap. You want to look at properties that have rented. And not only do you want to look at that, but you want to look at days on market. So for instance, when I find my comparables, and then I look at days on market, I want to see between 9 and 20 days on market. that means that's the sweet spot. So if you see one that rented, but it took 75 days, 80 days, they didn't really hit the sweet spot. They had to wait out the time, find that one person that would then pay that rent. And let me tell you, timing is important in a rental because every day it is not rented, just look at it. It's money flying out of your pockets. So we are very careful on making sure that we try to hit that sweet spot of rent as quickly as we can. And we don't look at available rentals as part of our formula in order to get our market rent or our sweet spot, let's say. So now we'll move on and we'll say timing is everything. So unfortunately, Las Vegas is seasonal. I know we have sunshine. We live in this great city that always offers some great weather. However, holidays do make renters not move. So they traditionally like to stay in their properties when it starts from Halloween all the way until we get to about middle of January. So our winter seasonally is our low time when it comes to rentals. In the summer, it is hot, hot, hot. And we can try and get a little more aggressive in the summer than we can in the winter months. So yeah, Vegas is seasonal and timing is everything. The last thing, special features. Special features that make that renter swoon. So I'm talking about like when you walk into a property and that kitchen blows your mind. Or you go into the primary bath and you have never seen such a gorgeous shower and tub and fixtures and backlit lights and all the stuff that make you go, wow. We will be able to calculate that for higher rent on those particular upgrades. So we have to be careful. We don't want to overestimate what somebody is willing to pay for that wow factor, but there is definitely value into some of those, swoon factor upgrades. We're careful because I like to tell my owner clients, these wow factors, we don't want to put too much money on it or factor in too much in the rent. What we like to do is let's beat out the competition. So we can use that upgraded property, those wow factors, to beat out all of the competition and get our property rented within 5 to 7 days, meaning we're going to start making money for our owner right away. So those things do come into play, but you have to be very careful not to overestimate. And I do that sometimes. I will walk in and I will be like, oh my gosh, that kitchen. Who would not want to cook in that kitchen? And then I'll put a value to it, but it was too much in comparison to what a renter will put value to in comparison to the competition that is out there. You also have to remember that high inventory, do not be aggressive with your rents. When there's a lot of competition out there, this is when you've got to get to the bare bones of what you're willing to accept as far as rent. Now, when there's less inventory, that's when you can be aggressive. I used to say when there's less inventory, I had the little salt and pepper from the 80s, push it real good. Well, push those rents up when there's less inventory. And yes, I'm sorry that I sang. I know I should not sing. However, my point is still the same. Less inventory, push those rents. More inventory, bare bottom. That's going to help you for days on market. I'm also going to tell you something. Savvy renters do not pay overpriced rent. They just don't. They don't have to. They don't need to. So when you're thinking, well, you know what? My bare minimum is $2,000, but I'm going to push it to $21 because that better quality renter is going to want to go for a $2,100 price because that's going to make my property look better. No, it's not. They're not even going to look at it because they don't have to. They know their credit is good. They know they've got the references. They know they've got the money in the bank. So no, you're not even going to get looked at if you are too high compared to what fair market rent is. And believe it or not, $100 can be too high in a market like we're in right now. So hopefully this has been helpful. This is how McKenna Property Management evaluates fair market rent.